Father dearest, it has been many moons since I set sail from the shore of our new home, and far too long since I've had the warmth of your smile to scare away the darkest thoughts in my mind. Darkshore is in bad shape, beset by plague and demon magic causing all manners of changes in the local wildlife, and the Archdruid himself has denounced our use of the arcane ancients to hold back the withering plague. Even among our allies, I am once again made to feel as alone as I am. Closer to home, the forest of Elwyn and nearby Westfall are nearing a boiling point, and the Child King is either unwilling, or simply unable, to mobilize the help needed by his people. As such, a small contingent of farmers, calling themselves the People's Militia, have taken up arms to rid their homes of the defiant invaders. It is from their base on Sentinel Hill that I pen this letter, with hope in my heart that it will reach you before things reach the point of dragging Stormwind and the rest of us screaming into the darkness. Rest assured, whatever comes, I will be ready. The light by my side in your training will make sure of that. Your little light, Eladriana.
Hey guys, it's me again. Don't worry, Unk hasn't lost track of the upload button just yet. What I did lose, however, was my mind, considering the amount of people who seem to think I'm a dinosaur. Yeah, I mean, at first glance, if you don't know any better, yes, it does kind of look like it. You know what? There. I've metamorphosed into a properly frog-looking frog. Are you guys happy now? Is this what you wanted? Jokes aside, big thanks to my friend Yuya X Anime for the new look. We got the sheriff's hat, the dopey face with the lifeless eyes. We've even got hands. Look at him, ready to draw that banana gun at the flap of a fly's wings. Are you that fast, partner? You want to find out? Episode 3, huh? Man, time flies when you're old. So far in this journey, we've cleared the High Elf starting zone except for the elite quests, and set off for Darkshore to end Episode 1. In Episode 2, we investigated a strange red crystal that seems to be agitating the local Moonkin, tried to cure and subsequently slaughtered the Thistlebear and Moonstalker populations, freed a character whose name is dangerously close to another unrelated RPG game, made a bunch of alcohol for a gnome I just met, gathered bones like a tumbler witch, got a bunch of free loot, and almost died. Get used to that one, I'll probably be saying it in every episode. Right before logging off last time, we'd accepted a quest to rescue Volcor for his friend Terenthus, and left a few quests to be picked up at a later time. Don't get your hopes up though, because we aren't going to be spending a lot of time here in Darkshore today. Not only did I log off right after getting that quest, but I did so inside of an inn. On top of that, I then decided to take a 2-week break from playing the game to edit the last 2 videos, completely forgetting about the fact that Rested XP exists. So, get used to the bar being purple for a while. I took a few seconds to get my bearings and try to decide what to do after being away for so long, eventually settling on waiting for the boat to Stormwind. My initial plan was just to get a few skill upgrades and come back, but that plan ends up disintegrating fairly quickly. I'm the king of the world on a boat like Leo. Hopping off the boat in the Alliance capital of Stormwind, we begin the ascension from the harbor to the city proper on our way to the Cathedral Square, where we meet Duthorian Rahl. Not a skill trainer, but he will be testing our skills to see if we're worthy of being called a paladin. First order of business, he gives us a Tome of Divinity to read, which speaks about compassion, patience, and the willingness to help others. Those things all sound like me, I guess, so we give the book back to Duthorian, and he asks us to prove that we understand by finding someone in need of aid, especially someone helping others, and providing it. In one of the rooms next to him, we find our actual skill trainer, where we buy rank 3 of Holy Light, a Blessing of Wisdom that provides 10 mana every 5 seconds for 10 minutes, and a Retribution aura that causes attackers to take 5 holy damage. Do note that we can only have 1 blessing or aura active at any time. On the way out, I throw that lingering talent point from last time into Benediction for another 3% reduction to our Seal and Judgment spells mana costs. Off to the Trade District, we find Stephanie Turner, a human woman down on her luck who asks that we bring her some linen cloths so she can sew clothes for the kids. Someone in need of aid, especially someone who's helping others. Bingo. Up the stairs to chat with the Griffin Master, then it's out of the city and into Elwyn Forest. Feels nice to not have to worry about dying. Hope that feeling lasts. Goldshire. I'll never forget the feeling of getting here that first time. Or the person it was with, may she rest in peace. Marshal Dugan, you bastard, you look exactly how I remember. What's that you say? A High Elf district in Stormwind. Why, I'll have to check it out. Remy from Ratatouille asks us to speak with Dugan, which I accept because he's like 2 feet away, and we tell the Marshal about the Merchant's Murloc news. His hands are tied, though, so unless he gets a military report about the Murlocs, there's nothing he can do. To get a report, all we have to do is head east along the road to meet up with Guard Thomas at the Eastern Elwyn Bridge. He'll know more about the state of the area.
Elf. Copper. 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 Elf. Copper. Copper. Copper.
Oh yeah, I can sharpen my sword. Blom. On the way to Thomas, I stumble upon the Tower of Azora, where I see a quest on my plugin that I haven't outleveled yet. Not this one, no. Of course, it's the one all the way at the top.
Going up!
Theocritus, a mage of the tower, tells us a story of a brilliant student he once tutored, destined for a bright future. Perhaps, one day, to even run the Tower of Azora we're standing in. But alas, his mind fell to the folly of politics and rage, and now he's begun training the Defias thugs in the ways of the arcane. Naturally, he asks us to murder this student at the Stone Cairn Lake to the northeast, a task I graciously accept. Further along the road, we meet with Guard Thomas, who confirms that there are indeed Murlocs in the streams, both aggressive and semi-intelligent. To finish his report, he wants us to head north along the river to find out what's left of 2 guards he sent to investigate, quote, a few days ago. Before we head off, he also tells us that we should travel to the center of Westfall, to the west if you can believe it, to meet with Grian Stoutmantle at the stone tower known as Sentinel Hill. Sure enough, a quick jog through the woods brings us to a half-eaten pile of unidentifiable meat next to a shield emblazoned with the crest of Stormwind. Nearby is strewn a medallion engraved with the words Footman Malachi Stone, so I guess that's 1 found, 1 to go. We see footprints leading to a Murloc village to the east, so I suppose we should start our search there. Even despite being relatively overpowered, approaching this village still fills me with an indescribable dread. I lost my first ever hardcore character on Retail Classic here, a level 14 human priestess who I foolishly let get overwhelmed. And you never quite forget your first. Now, older, wiser, and a paladin, I skirt around the edge of the village, picking off the specific Murlocs I need in order to reach another half-eaten body. Around its neck is another medallion that reads Footman Rolf Hartford. That makes 2. I stuff them into my bag to return to Thomas once I've finished in this area.
Elf. Copper. Copper. Copper.
On the island at the center of the lake, we run into some Defias rogue wizards who, quite frankly, stand no chance, as well as the Hero's Vigil. Ominous. Oh yeah, waiting for respawns. Woohoo! I gotta hand it to this hunter here. I definitely expected him to tag the student and force me to wait another 5 minutes for him to spawn again, but he lets me fight him first. Which doesn't take long, considering the 3-level difference. That sorted, I do what I should have done in the first place instead of standing around, and start farming the rogue wizards for linen cloth. Why is there a cow named Bessie in the middle of this island full of rogue wizards? And why is she level 35? Oh, look, a dead NPC. Rest in piss, guy. A green two-handed sword with +1 agility and a 0.3 increase to DPS? Shwee! Plonk. Let me just sharpen that up. After a bit more farming, I realized that I can talk to that cow from before. I sure do got a bad feeling about this. Phew. Not sure what I expected, but I still had my butt clenched for some reason. Grab the last bit of cloth and a healing potion from this strangely hyena-looking wizard, then meander on back through the woods to guard Thomas, committing only a little pointless murder on the way. And I do mean pointless. These enemies are so low level that they aren't even worth any XP, so we're just doing it for the love of the game. We head over the metals to Thomas and he gives us his report, which confirms that the Murlocs are too much to be handled by the current force. He acknowledges that there aren't many troops to spare, but still hopes that the Marshal can find someone. On the way back, we make the climb up the Tower of Azora once more to hand over Ralthus' necklace to Theocritus, confirming that his student is in fact dead. As, quote, personal thanks, he gives us a ring that increases our intellect by 1. Plonk. Talking to Dugan, he laments his lack of men and worries that there will be fighting in Goldshire soon. But, that doesn't sound like my problem yet, so... Back into Stormwind, through the gaggle of goofballs, we bring the stack of torn, blood-soaked cloth to Stephanie. She doesn't seem too bothered, though, and celebrates that she'll now have time to focus on the children's other needs. Good deed accomplished. Now, let's go check on that High Elf district that Dugan told us about. I stand outside of this inn, wondering why I don't usually take these quests for an embarrassing amount of time. I even head inside and talk to Wilder Thistlenettle before I remember that they're dungeon quests, and dungeons are quite hard to do alone. Or so I've heard. I haven't been stupid enough to try. Yet. Quick break from my bumbling around to smelt up this copper and clear out the inventory space. And by quick, I do mean almost a minute of smelting, 20 seconds of rock bending, and then 35 seconds of making bracers. Learn a few more recipes that I'll probably never craft. I finally feel silly enough to read the quest dialogue again, and sure enough, the High Elf district is, quote, bordering the canal. Well, at least it wasn't a total waste of time. Through the door and to our left is Ilyana Dawnstar, the High Elf representative. She lets us know that, while the permanent housing is all filled up, there is an inn that can spare a bed on our humble street. She also assures us that there are plans in motion to improve the living conditions of our people permanently, and then returns to her bookkeeping. Just past this little entrance lies the actual street of Little Silvermoon, where we run into a treant named Applebow. He seems to have an ailment of some kind, but the plugin not marking it on my minimap means the quest most likely isn't worth my time. Still, I might pop back in sometime to help him out, just for the fun of it. Hello, yes, I would like to buy 5 tall glasses of ice-cold milk, please. Hey, this is pretty nice. Oh, a master bedroom. Swanky. What's this? Is that porn? Oh my gosh, I'm scandalized. Is it yours? I bet it's yours, you filthy heathen. Inspired by the small taste of home, we head off across the canal back to the Cathedral Square, stopping at the City Hall to speak with architect Barros Alexston. He tells us that his home has been burned down and taken over, something that strikes a chord deep within Eladriana's very being. As such, when he asks that we retrieve an old compass stashed away on what remains of his family farm, we hardly hesitate to accept. Across the street, back into the Cathedral of Light, Dithorian is impressed by the charity and sacrifice we embodied by helping Stephanie, so much so that he now trusts us with a symbol of life, something that will, quote, focus one of the Light's greatest gifts. He doesn't tell us what it does, instead telling us to talk to Gazin Tenorm at the altar at the end of the room. Shimmying on over, Gazin alludes to what the symbol can do by saying that he doesn't need its power yet, just some good old healing from the priest. Turns out, he and his friend Hens were investigating the Defias at Stonecairn Lake, and when they foolishly rushed into attack, they were quickly overwhelmed. Hens stayed back to hold them off while Gazin fled to the city to find help, which is where we come in. The symbol of life, if it isn't already obvious, is a tool to bring the dead back to life. Neat. For our next test, we have to go back to Stonecairn Lake and resurrect Hens, proving to Dithorian that we're powerful enough to learn another spell. Back to the forest. Pit stop in Goldshire. Even though I know it'll eventually ask me to go beyond my current horizon, I grab Elmore's task from Argus, the local blacksmith. For now, our only goal is to talk to Grimmond Elmore at the weapons shop in the Dwarven district, which we'll do when we pop back into town later. Another small hiccup with PF Quest, making me think I can double up on Tome of Divinity completions. Alas, it wasn't meant to be. Down the road, through the woods, and back to Stone Cairn Lake.
Rest in peace, guy.
Oh, it's this guy. That makes this a little more awkward. On your feet, bozo. Hens is deeply grateful and not even a little offended about my previous comments, saying it bodes well that we're able to empower the symbol of life with our own faith. Even being recently dead, that's as much as the dwarf wants to talk until his mission is complete, which is respectable, I guess. What isn't as respectable is the next paragraph, where he asks us to do the work. But hey, XP is XP. Defia's script in hand, it's time to head back to the cathedral. Hand over the scripts to Gazin, and then it's back over to Dithorian for a well-deserved pat on the ass. Oh, and that resurrection spell, I guess. Dwarf District. Weapon Shop. Grimmond Elmore. According to the dwarf, a mountaineer of Ironforge named Gringer Stormpike has commissioned a weapon from him, and now that the blade is complete, he needs someone to deliver it. It takes an embarrassing amount of time, but I do eventually find Lochmadon on the map and decide to hold off on that delivery for a little bit. Instead, I head back out of the city and start making my way west towards Westfall, the remaining quests in Darkshore gone from my mind. Crossing the bridge at the forest's edge, gone are the vibrant green trees and luscious grass, giving way to dry, dead vegetation and long, dusty sightlines. Seconds after crossing the threshold, we come across Farmer Furlbrow and his wife, Verna, who need help in a few particular ways. First, the farmer asks that we retrieve a pocket watch from his pumpkin farm to the west. Should be easy enough. Verna is distraught, but she makes time to write down a recipe for Westfall stew, asking us to bring it to the Saldean farm for her friend Salma. She also asks us to gather some oats from the field so their trusty mare, Old Blanchy, can have herself a snack while the wagon is being fixed. While I'm gathering materials for the quests I have in my log, I also make a mental note to tuck some specific items away for a couple quests later on, like this okra I got from the Rusty Harvest Golem. Here's the oats for Old Blanchy. Make sure that beautiful creature gets plenty of rest, and maybe a salt lick while you're at it. Left at the crossroad, and we reach the Saldean's farm in no time at all. Heading inside, we give the recipe over to Salma, who laments losing her friend but acknowledges that it'll probably be safer for her in Stormwind. To thank us, Salma asks for 3 each of stringy vulture meat, gore tusk snouts, murloc eyes, and okra so she can make some stew for us, which is why I tucked away those seemingly random drops a few seconds ago. See, sometimes there is a method to my madness. She also asks for 8 gore tusk livers so she can finish making her famous meat pies, which explains the other drop I saved from Peppa Pig earlier. Outside, we do a little bartering with Salma's husband before asking if he needs help, because I have the extra-dimensional ability to already know that he'll say yes. Indubitably, he complains about the thieves running off all the good farm folk, and then asks us to kill 20 of the harvest watchers that have taken over the fields. Ah, good old-fashioned murder. One of Frog's darling pastimes. Don't mind if I do. Bringing the murder south, we end up at Sentinel Hill, the center for the People's Militia's operations in Westfall, where we meet the man that Guard Thomas told us about earlier, Grian Stoutmantle. He tells us that the monarchy has abandoned their cause, which sounds about right given what little I know about the Stormwind military. Without the Alliance army to help us, Grian suggests a two-pronged plan of attack to deal with the Defias Brotherhood. On one hand, he asks us to travel to the other side of Elwyn to the Red Ridge Mountains, specifically to the town of Lakeshire, where a rogue that owes him a favor is hiding out. Supposedly, he can give us some valuable information. On the other hand, he wants us to prove ourselves in combat by killing 15 Defias trappers and 15 Defias smugglers, who reports say are in abundance near the Django Lode Mine, the Molson Farm, and Furlbrow's Pumpkin Farm. Next to Grian, Captain Donovan asks us to patrol the grasslands and take out the gnolls that seem to be working with the Defias Brotherhood, bringing back 8 of their paws for a reward. Finally, we head inside the tower to chat with Quartermaster Lewis. Despite not having the aid of Stormwind directly, he apparently has a contact in the city who helps supply armor, and he asks us to take a note to him via the Griffin just down the hill. Before that, let's head over to the nearby lumber mill for another quest from Scout Galeon. Defias bandits can be tracked by the red leather bandanas they wear over their faces, and the scout wants us to bring him 15 of them. We need 30 kills already, so this shouldn't even be a detour. Alright, quick chat with the Griffin Master, and we're off to Stormwind. Is now a bad time to say that I don't do well with heights? Ugh. Whew. Back on solid ground, where a frog belongs. Off to Old Town, we meet Osric Strang and deliver Lewis's letter. As thanks, he reimburses some of our travel expenses, which I forgot were a thing I even had to pay. Profit? While we're here, Osric puts together a crate of equipment and asks us to bring it back to Westfall with us, and since we're heading back there anyway, I figure it's no trouble at all. I look into maybe upgrading my armor with this shiny gold coin while we're here, but this bozo doesn't have anything available until level 22, so I guess we'll come back. Oh, it's a good thing I can't throw up. Oh, just gotta keep my stomach inside. Ooh, here's your box, guy. Oh, some extra health. That's always nice. I mean, you never know when that extra bit of stamina could mean the difference between life and death.
Oh shit!
Ghouls? As a paladin, I simply must smite thee. Level 15, so 2 of them shouldn't even be much of a problem.
Who
need a mushroom. Move it over. Together. Second question. Whiz that crank How many bones can one possess before it starts skating? Oh my fucking frog. That was close. You guys have no idea. Like, yeah, I joked about the close shaves we've had so far, but surviving at 6 health by 2 frames is probably the closest I'll ever get to feeling alive, ironically enough. As silence falls over us, I sit down to enjoy a kebab and some milk while the reality of just how close I came to dying washes over me. The math is probably scuffed because it's my math, but at 30 FPS in my video editor, we were only 2 frames from taking another tick of damage, which would have killed us and rendered the last 2 weeks of editing null and void. That would have sucked. After our brush with death, I soldiered on for another 10 minutes, but the imposter syndrome and just general anxiety and depressive thoughts had completely taken over by that point. Being stressed was making me lose focus, and having lost focus was stressing me out, culminating in a vicious cycle that I finally put to rest by just going back to bed. Note that it's not even 6 AM at this point. It took the entire day and night, but the next morning I managed to get it in my head that things would be better, and that one scare shouldn't be enough to give up completely. Even when we do inevitably die before 60, that doesn't mean the end of the challenge, or that all of this time was wasted. We take what we've learned, we pick our head up, we go again and again until it's done. For now, by the grace of whatever gods there might be, Aladriana is still alive, and she's waiting in Westfall to continue our journey. So let's get back in there, shall we?